Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we're going to be doing a little forensic investigation. We're going after a silent killer that can haunt any orchid collection. It's a really nasty disease that leaves behind just one chilling piece of evidence, the purple ring of death. If you grow orchids, trust me, this is a case you absolutely need to know how to solve.
Wow. That sentence right there just captures the brutal, absolute finality of Fusarium Wilt. There is no coming back from this. The second you see that purple ring, the case is closed for that specific plant. So our job today is to figure out why this happens, and more importantly, how you can make sure it doesn't happen to your entire collection.
All right, let's dive right into our investigation. Every case starts at the crime scene, right? And for us, that means getting to know this primary piece of evidence, that purple ring itself. What is it really telling us?
Okay, so here's the key thing to understand. The ring isn't just the fungus, it's actually the plant's own defense mechanism going into overdrive. As the fungus invades, the orchid starts pumping out these pigments, anthocyanins, in a frantic attempt to build a wall and stop the invader. So that purple ring, it's the visible scar of a battle that, sadly, has already been lost.
So, if the purple ring is the evidence of a fight, who's the bad guy? Every good investigation needs to unmask the suspect, and in this case, our villain is a very specialized and, frankly, an incredibly tough fungus.
Say hello to Fusarium oxysporum, specifically the Forma specialist Kittilea. You can think of it like a specialist assassin, one that is uniquely evolved to attack the vascular systems, the veins of orchids. It's a soil-borne pathogen that goes right for the plant's internal plumbing, its whole life support system, and it affects so many of the popular orchids we love to grow.
And this fungus is brilliant in the worst possible way. It has this three-part arsenal. First, it sends out the microconidia. Think of these as the tiny scouts, spreading far and wide really fast. Then you have the macroconidia. These are the bigger soldiers that move in to establish a colony. But honestly, the most dangerous of all are the chlamydospores, the sleepers. These things have thick walls, and they can just lay dormant for years in your pots, on your benches, just waiting. This is exactly why it is so hard to get rid of.
Okay, so we've identified our culprit, and we know its weapons. Now, let's look at the anatomy of the invasion itself. How does this fungus actually pull off such a complete and total takeover of the plant?
The attack basically follows a four-step plan. First, entry. The spores find a little opening, usually a tiny wound in the roots or the rhizome. Second, colonization. The fungus starts growing its web inside the xylem, the plant's water pipes. Third, and this is the critical step, blockage. The plant's plumbing gets completely clogged up, both by the fungus itself and by the plant's own sticky defensive response. And finally, you have starvation. The pipes are blocked, so water and nutrients can't get through, and the plant essentially starves and dies from the inside out.
And this brings us back to that moment of truth. What you see when you make that cut. A healthy orchid rhizome? It should look clean, a nice uniform white, or maybe greenish white. But an infected one? Well, there it is. That dark, unmistakable ring. This isn't an early warning sign, people. This is the autopsy report. It confirms the entire vascular system is toast.
So, let's turn you into the detective. How do you actually conduct an investigation in your own collection? How do you get that definitive diagnosis? Well, it's going to take some careful observation and, as we'll see, one very decisive, very important action.
Your investigation starts with surveillance. You've got to be on the lookout for these external clues. Do you have a plant that's wilting even though you know you're watering it just fine? Are leaves starting to yellow for no reason? Is its growth just stunted, especially compared to its neighbors? All of these are suspicious activities. This is the circumstantial evidence that should put a plant on your official watch list.
Now, to get that definitive proof, you have to perform the cut test, but you have to do this right. First, get that plant away from all your others, isolated. Second, and this is completely non-negotiable, use a sterilized blade. Flame it until it's red hot or soak it in alcohol. Third, make one clean cut through the rhizome. Fourth, look for the ring. And fifth, and I can't stress this enough, sterilize that blade again, right away. If you don't, you risk becoming the vector, the very thing that spreads this disease everywhere.
So, once your investigation confirms it, once you see that ring, the whole mission changes. It's not about saving that one plant anymore. It's about protecting every other plant in your collection. It is time to enact the containment protocol.
Let me be perfectly crystal clear on this point. There is no cure. You're not going to find a fungicide that can reverse this once it's taken hold. From this moment on, all of your energy, 100% of it, has to shift to prevention. Your new mission, and it's a mission you can absolutely win, is to become the guardian of your remaining healthy plants.
You have to act, and you have to act fast. First, get that infected plant out of your growing area right now. Second, you have to dispose of it safely. Double bag it, throw it in the municipal trash, or if you can, incinerate it. Whatever you do, do not compost it. You'll just be creating a super concentrated batch of the pathogen. And finally, you got to keep a really close eye on the plants that were sitting right next to it.
Look, your single greatest weapon in this entire fight is just rigorous, obsessive hygiene. And we're not just talking about your cutting tool here. We're talking about everything. Your tools need to be flamed or soaked. Plastic pots have to get a long bleach bath. Porous clay pots, you might even need to bake them in the oven to kill those sleeper spores. And yes, you have to wipe down your entire growing area. You have to be meticulous.
And remember this, water is the superhighway for this fungus. Every single time you water, you're running the risk of spreading spores around. So stop overhead watering that can splash from one plant to the next. Never, ever, ever reuse the water from one plant's saucer for another plant. And just as a good general practice, make sure all your pots have excellent drainage to keep the roots healthy and less vulnerable in the first place.
Okay, I know that was all pretty grim. So after all that bad news, I do want to end this on a more hopeful note. The fight against Fusarium is really tough, but it's not hopeless. Researchers and growers are working all the time to develop new strategies to fight back.
The future actually looks pretty cool. I mean, imagine rapid tests you could do at home to detect the fungus before you even see symptoms. Scientists are working on biological controls, which is basically using good fungi and bacteria to fight the bad ones. And of course, the long-term holy grail is breeding new orchids that have built-in genetic resistance. All of this comes together in what's called integrated pest management, which just gives growers a much more powerful and sophisticated toolkit.
So let's end with this thought. Finding that purple ring is, yes, a tragedy for that one plant. It's that plant's epitaph. But if you understand what it means, if you conduct a proper investigation, and you put a strict containment protocol in place, that single loss can give you the critical knowledge you need to save everything else. It can be the warning sign that guarantees the future health and vitality of your entire collection.